Woo, we are live. My goodness. Cannot believe it's almost mid-March. All right. Happy Women's Month. I joke, but it's not a joke. I said, hey, it's Women's Month. I said, if it wasn't for professional women, I've been homeless a long time ago. So thank you all. Thank you. And by the way, the Hounds of Business was 98% women for 2 years. So, hey, I mean, that was the bottom of my heart. Hey, go. All right. But now today, I'm happy to say we got just good on people, man. It has nothing to do with gender. But we just got good people who share alignment, share, character, and doing amazing things. And that is why I am super excited for today's guest. A good friend of mine. If people ask me, they say, what's the Hounds about? All this farming approach and attraction and ecosystem focus. Hey, you're going to see it real time. That's how we got together. This was not planned, right? Her and her life and how we got connected really, that tells a story. That's proof positive. That's my case study for the Hounds, y'all. So without further ado, I'm going to run the intro video. Thank you for coming, because I know it's springtime. Nobody want to sit around and watch it stuff. Everybody wants to go play. It don't get dark out here in Kentucky until 10 now. So thanks for tuning in. And this will be life-changing for other folks, either live or on the replay. Because what this lady is doing, especially on oncology and helping cancer survivor rates, is unbelievable, folks. And it's a super honor to be a part of this to help other folks. So let's run it. If I can find the dadgum video, we will get this going. I almost hit the wrong one. Hey.
Are you looking to grow your network and your net worth with other high-level, heart-centered professionals? Then grab a seat and your favorite beverage and join Mike Asherbranner, the Redneck Connector. It's time for the Hounds of Business Community Happy Hour.
See, I'm over here fiddling with links and stuff over here playing. All right. So I want to make sure folks know, hey, if you don't do this alone, entrepreneurship, building a life, living a dream, that's hard, especially if you're all passionate, no clue, right? You're working class, regular folk like me and Rochelle, and then something grabs hold of you. You can't stay that way. You got to go make something happen. That's what this whole thing's about. So I'm going to put in YouTube and LinkedIn. I'll put in the group chat. Hey, it's educational as well as entertaining, but people have an impact to make. I'm not going to go on a rant, but the reason that they won't is because they don't have the resources, support, and people to get it done, folks. And that's what we built in this redneck Camelot known as the Hounds of Business, right? Not perfect people, but we have it going on, and we're looking to expand because there's a bunch of us out there. And we can make a serious dent in things that matter. And Rochelle is proof positive, especially when it comes to oncology and cancer. It can and should be done, folks. So thank you so much. I'm going to go by. We give Hound shout outs here. Grand Face. Oh, my goodness. There's another person that if they popped angel wings, I wouldn't flinch. Dadgummit. Tanya Eberhardt, Michael Carr. High level, heart centered as you'll ever get, guys. These people have the heart of gold. And they have helped me and countless other folks, good people, Hounds. And here's the deal. I'm not going to sit here and pitch slap, but dadgummit, the cart before the horse. I see it too many times trying to market something that doesn't make sense, doesn't communicate. And she's right. People meet your brand before they meet you. It needs to be dialed in, clear. And think about it, not just for more sales and stuff, because how many 40 coffee chats of people who, you have a hair salon, nothing but bald people walk into it. That's a frustrating day in business. So this helped me. This helped a lot of folks. And it's not just pretty graphics. This is messaging, understanding. Now I go to podcasts. I don't just ramble for 65 minutes, right? I have something to say, usually. So thank you so much, Tanya and Michael. Good people. And they spotlight their clients like crazy. I love it. Birds of a feather. Oh, there you go. See me, spotlight. Look at my happy face. They said that we're mailing you something, be 20 days. I'm like, 20 days? What, they saying, a horse? What? I mean, what the day country as I am. So no, it wasn't a horse. It was this. All right. So that was fantastic. It's hanging on my office shed. And this guy here, man, I need a hair sample. We might be related. You might be the good brother version. That Troy Carnes, guys, his book is dropping April or May. All right. We're going to keep you in suspense. But this guy is all heart. He has been there, done that. I mean, I can't imagine. I went through recovery, right? Alcohol recovery. And I couldn't imagine 98 days later getting a cancer diagnosis and having my shoulder cut out. That to me blows my mind, right? But this man did it. And just as good people do, he wanted to pass it on and share his knowledge of how he learned how to live in better harmony. And, the guy's doing it. And he's a great, great guy. You can't get around him enough. He works his butt off. He's a good family man. And it's a real big honor to be able to support him and help him out and push him forward. So thank you, Troy, so much. TroyCarnes.com. That's his website. Couldn't get more easier, right? So there's the QR code. You can go back and look. Yolanda, I see you. I was about to cry. And Leanna, I don't know if they planned this. They always come in, Rochelle, back and forth like this. Ladies, it is an honor. Hey, you all have to connect. This Rochelle is amazing. We're going to have to pull her up. I'm tired of talking about her. I want to talk to her. And you all here, I bet it's nice where you're at and you're still here. Thank you so much. All right. So, no. Like Kevin Smith, very accomplished, very big-hearted, successful businessman. And he lost his wallet. And this is my translation. He ain't told me to stop yet, but he lost his wallet. Then he lost his mind. That's what it looked like. And he just went on this rampage of kindness, trying to pay it forward and made a big deal out of it. And I'm glad he did, because now the whole world is starting to feel the shockwaves of this, man. We need kindness now more than ever, not that lip service stuff. We need actual, concrete, impact kindness. This man is going nuts, all right, in a good way. So he just texted me where he's going to be. He will be here, folks. Check that out, Leanna. Yolanda, he's going to be here with us, and not just him, but really the founding county, York County, Pennsylvania. I mean, Mayberry don't sound like nothing compared to York. The way these folks run the stuff, the police commissioner, everybody's high-fiving him. He's passing out kindness citations. The crime rate is low, low, low. Of course it is. These people have good culture out here, man. You're going to be bad guy. You don't want to live in York. That's too much goodness there. So I can't wait. We're going to have the police commissioner. We're going to have representatives from the city in the county. It's going to be off the hook because we want to see this duplicated. York said, hey, how about we duplicate this all across the world? Why not? They did the model. So let's do it. So without further ado, folks, hey, is it Otto? Hey, forgive me if I mess up easy names, Otto. Good to see you, my friend. Thank you. Let's bring this amazing lady up. Let's go. I got to get my soundboard. Everybody clap. Yeah, I was watching that Steven Seagal movie. That's why I'm doing the clap. All right, how are you today? I went there. No, Steven Seagal. Hey, listen, I do not want Steven in my comments. Do not tell him I love you, Steven. Hey, you could, yeah, Steven. Don't tell him. Whoever tags Steven Seagal gets kicked off my.
I'm going to tag him myself.
No, thank you. Van Dam. Yes, sir. Come on. I don't know what you've been doing. All right. So how are you? Rochelle with Orchid. Well, you changed it now. All right. So tell me.
Well, it's still the same name. I just shortened it down, making it easier for people to find me. And in this day and age, it's hard enough to just remember what you need to do tomorrow. Let's make life easier and be able to find each other. And hello to everyone today. Thank you so much for being here. I literally skid in right in time to be here today. As you know, I travel a lot, so really great to be here with everyone.
No. Let me tell the people the truth. I'm sure you're okay. But she's scrambling. Y'all know she just hopped out of the car seat. Car seat's still warm. There she is. Acting like she's all cool and calm and collected. So am I. Same. And that's dedication. She will not miss any opportunity to go out there and advance her mission. It's to save lives, guys. No exaggeration. And that's what I like about you. So before I get on this tangent, because I want folks to know from you, but I'm going to comment. Yeah, I'm going to commentate after this, right? So your journey to founding Orchid Healthcare Solutions, right? Absolutely, to me, fascinating, right? Can you share what personal and professional experiences led you to create this organization focused on cancer and care navigation?
So I am a neurotrauma and ICU nurse and transitioning into other areas now in oncology nursing. And after 30 years of being at the bedside, I met the love of my life and we started having a family. And all of a sudden, what I thought healthcare delivery is, and we think about caring, and we think about what nurses do, and how we interact with the public and bringing our professionalism there. Well, suddenly, and in an instant, I was on the other side of healthcare delivery as I tried to help my husband survive lung cancer and prostate cancer. And at the same time, our third child was diagnosed with an incurable brain cancer. And it was very bad. It was very large. And she was in the dawn of her life, just the age of 4. And that was the last day that I could work at the bedside. Through that all, while trying to advance my career, I had to come to a dead stop because I had to choose who I was going to help. My husband, who is in the latter half of his life, the dusk of his life, or my daughter, who was in the dawn of her life, to survive something so great and so grand. There was not a curable option. And so that wasn't enough for me to say, how do you have a child and they are just starting out on life and now their life is over? That was not acceptable. And being in the healthcare system, you would expect to understand the different nuances and where to find your way. But what I realized very quickly is that healthcare was siloed. But even more, when there are no options, you don't even have the opportunity to say, let's look over here or let's look over there. And so what I did not want was someone else to come after me and go through what I went in my journey in trying to save my loved ones' lives. And so that's what Orchid did. We're 15 years into this journey and both of them are alive and my daughter is doing well on this side of survivorship. It's not easy. We're still, yes, Lord, stop it now with the flickering lights. We are still in this journey trying to survive what the new normal is. It never actually ends. And so I looked at what could I do to make a difference, because I needed to make sense of what I had to do. And so in realizing that, that's how Orchid started. It became a resource for patients. It became a resource for anyone coming after me to say, what else is out there? What didn't I know? And what were the barriers that prevented me from finding out this information? And then I removed them.
Let me back it up a little bit, because I don't want people to miss this. Claudia, you're dead on. She spoke for all of us, maybe, I think. I can't imagine being in that situation. So you, correct me if I'm wrong, you are a nurse.
Yes.
And then hubby and child, get cancer
at the same time, within a week of each other, within about a month of each other. Yeah.
That's wild. That's like Troy Connors. Like, you're like, wow, like you can't make it up. And then, oh my gosh. And then you go to oncology to help, but that's not enough. So you see all the things going on and go, oh my goodness, we got to speed it up. We got to do something. So again, I'm not minimizing you, but you didn't set out for this. You wasn't ready for this. You didn't have a trust fund to fund it. You did none of that. You were just, hey, like all the great movies and books and people we actually want to hear from, which is, thank goodness, the Hounds and others. But you just said, I'm going to do it. You didn't, how? I don't know how. Like, I got to do it. And I known you back then when we were both all passionate and no clue. This is what I mean. I just met a lady I liked. I didn't even know why I liked her at the time. Then we reconnect after a year of being pretty much MIA. And now we push each other up because we both regular folks that just had to make something big happen. And wow. And you do every single day. You put on a smile, you go knock your stuff out. And it gets chaotic. It's life. You're running around all over the world and country and blah, blah, blah. But man, you stick in there when the times are tough. And that's selfless. That is a servant leader if I ever seen one. So I'm going to make you blush a little bit, dadgummit. I think you have earned it. I've watched you. You never say boo to no one. And, but you're doing, I see it. And we push each other up when we have those bad days. and it
Mm-hmm.
means a lot. So I want folks to know who you are, because what you do is that's a no brainer. But I want you to them to know who you are and why you do this, because now everything else makes total sense. It's why you're the folks you serve, the people you help, the doctors you work with, all of it. That's why they
Mm-hmm.
respect you and they back you and they're doing it. All right. So, and by the way, Orchid, that's the, all right, Organization for Research and Clinical Cancer Health.
Correct.
I didn't even read that.
That's it.
I was wanting to cheat.
That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. Everyone was asked, well, why did you pick an orchid? And because it's research. I'm a data nerd. I'm a data scientist, actually. I had to transition to some of that. I brought in a little bit of legal nurse consulting into that too, so I can make medical decisions in the law where it matters most to patients under advocacy. Translate that now 15 years later, who knew that I would be tapped or asked to participate, to advocate, to speak for patients across this nation and craft policy where it makes a difference? Because I thought, okay, maybe I can make a difference in patients' lives just one-on-one in the patients that I care directly for. Well, that wasn't enough. That wasn't enough. So then I said, okay, well, let me do it under the different organizations that I serve and the patients that I serve within the organizations. And I'm touching thousands of patients, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, through the different staff that have worked with me, that I've had the pleasure to know, to nurture, to employ, and to bolster up. That still wasn't enough. People were still dying. So then it was, well, let's look at a cancer treatment library. Maybe if you bring that to people and bring awareness on that and understand that there's a place you can go to research. And I realized, even as great as that is, and as transformative as that is, if people don't know it's there, that's not enough.
It's not enough. So
then I started, talking with Mike, what more can I do other than the consulting? I'm jobless all of a sudden. And so then you start your own company. You just say, okay, you're looking left, looking right, nobody else is speaking, or you're not hearing the message that you yourself need to hear or would want to share. So you start talking, you start speaking, you start challenging, you start doing things differently. And then to come to find out, it's still not enough. It's still not enough. And so one day at ASCO, I was there and I heard about this Cancer X moonshot. And they kept saying, you should come talk to us. You should go find these people. You should go do this. And I'm like, well, what is that going to do for me? What is that going to do for those that I'm trying to help? They said, give it a shot. So I went and spoke with the CEO and founder and a few of the people, and it was great. And then I looked to see what else is out there. Who are they actually helping? And I said, man, I'm at this conference and we want to help everybody, but it's not everybody up there on the stage. And when you're looking for a solution, whether you're a healthcare provider or whether you now are becoming, and I call it becoming that caretaker, because I'm not a caregiver, right? I can't be a caregiver. I have to be an advocate for my family. I don't have the luxury to be a caregiver, because if I don't advocate for them, if I don't make the right decisions for them, they're not going to make it, especially in the fact that there was no cure. So I had to really be strategic, understanding this is not supposed to be this way. I'm not supposed to make decisions for my child. I can't as a healthcare provider, but life just didn't afford me the luxury of just being a parent. And so that's where I say it's not caregiving, it's caretaking. And then it's cancer travel tourism. I had to work with the health system I was within and the physicians that were in front of me, those that had an answer and everyone else that didn't, and work with them to find a solution that lasted long enough that would get us to the next level, that next piece of technology that then could work long enough to get us to the next level. And if you hop, skip, and jump and make enough right decisions, and remember, no decision is right or wrong. You're just going with what the toolbox that's in front of you. That's all you got, just the box. And you may miss a screwdriver, you're missing a nut, you have a Phillips and you need an Allen wrench, but that's all you got. And you got to make the best decision and say, all right, that's the decision. It is what it is. I can't go back, but I'm going to go forward. Hindsight, is always like that. It's 2020. But when you're talking about somebody's life, you don't have time to gamble. And fortunately, through faith, through a lot of conversations, and then ultimately making decisions and living by it, by the grace of God, here we are. And so this is where I say doors will open for you if you knock long enough, if you ask long enough, if you show kindness. It's not easy sometimes to get up and smile, but it sure feels better at the end of the day because you make a bunch of moments and string them together and find your way. So that's it. You're on mute, Mike.
I'll do my mom impression. So, yeah, dadgummit. All right. Hey, if I could do it, you could do it. People think I'm being cute. No, I'm serious. Come on now. But we do it from heart. It's heartfelt. Mm-hmm. Because, and on that note, because there's a lot of folks in the comments that are building businesses, going through this struggle, want to make an impact. Me too. And it's not easy. Everybody, if we're being honest, we want to quit all the time, right? At least in certain stages, right? And I had one of those days, but I can't. So what do you do? Before we dive into the NIH funding and what do you do when there is no passion? What do you do when everything around you, your bank account's gone, blah blah blah, this happened, that happens, relationship, it happens. It's if and when these things happen, what keeps you going? Why do you keep going when everything in the world says stop and most people do?
Because if I don't keep going, there's somebody who's not going to receive what they need to receive. Like it is just that. The patients that I help, I mean, in stage 1, stage 0, it is not anywhere. 1 and 2, it's early enough that you could do a plethora of different things, or even just surgical removal, and you pretty much are okay. But the patients that I help, they've exhausted all of their resources. And I know intimately what that feels like, where you don't even know which way to turn because you're at the end of the road with the provider that you've made the biggest trust relationship with. You've put your life in their hands, thinking that they have all the answers because that's all you know. You know that if you break your arm, you go to the emergency room down the street, they put it in a cast, they put it in a whatever, and you go about your business, and 6 to 8 weeks later, you're back in business. That's not how it is in cancer. That doesn't mean that you don't get broken legs in cancer. You're going to get broken legs, broken bones, broken arms. You're going to have all that. But you got to deal with, you're at the end of your life too. And you might not be ready for that. I know that I wasn't ready to let go of my daughter. That was a non sequitur. It was a non-starter. We were not even going to go there. And that's a hard place for patients to be. If you think about what happened in Philadelphia recently, a gentleman, He succumbed to terminal illness, and his parents had a really hard time with it. And so his father went in and did some things with the Second Amendment, you know, and unfortunately, us as healthcare providers, we take the brunt of that. And don't think we don't feel it. We feel it intimately. We don't want to tell you, no, we can't help you. That is not what we go into our jobs to do. But as professionals, we have to look at what's best for you, and is this going to harm you ultimately in the long run? And if it is, we're not going to give it to you. And it's not no for now. It's just no for now. It's not no forever. So that's where that, what can we do to keep things going until you find the next step? And when you're at the point where you just have no hope, right? I go to bed. I'm not going to bring that mentality to the rest of the world. You know what? I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to get a good night's sleep, maybe take some Tylenol, because I know tomorrow the sun will shine and we can start over. So that's what keeps me going, is because if I don't keep going, there's going to be somebody who's not going to get the answer that they need. I can't cure everybody, and I don't profess to do that. But maybe, just maybe, there's something that can get you out of where you are to the next step, so that you can have quality in the remainder of your life.
Okay, that was well said, eloquent as possible. And I'm not going to air all your business, but I know firsthand, I'm like, it's a miracle. It's absolutely phenomenal how you continue to go, you know, when life is having a big old red light, you know, and it's, wow. So it's your mentality. And I'm, again, not on that stage, but in a similar way, right? I'm like, well, why am I doing this? Blah, 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 you know, when. And then somebody would send a message, oh, you're my guardian angel, man. You changed my life. I'm like, okay, now how can I stop now? You know, like now I'm poop proof. You know, bring on the bull stuff. You know, that's it, because gosh, and then for you to be able to take all of that, I mean, all the sadness and grief and worry, and be able to process that on top of building a business. I mean, it is phenomenal to me. It really is wild, and just it's inspiring. So let's dive into this, because now I painted the picture, because I wanted folks to know who you are. You got websites galore. It's right here, orchidhealthcaresolutions.com. Folks can connect with you, follow you on LinkedIn. Absolutely do it. No fluff here. Only good stuff. She's updating. And finding new paths after NIH funding ends. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's on the list of stuff I don't know. Let's talk about that. That's on the top. So you're going to have to help me here. You're going to have to switch. You're going to have to be Oprah for a minute. But pour it out there. Ask your own questions. I'll nod and stuff. But this is very important. There's a landscape change. There's a lot of stuff happening with new administrations. And this is really a difficult time for a lot of folks, regardless of affiliations, and people who just want to get better with cancer or in the space. So tell us what you know, what we can use, and help the people, because they want to know.
Yes. So you have people in 3 buckets right now. And it doesn't even matter whether it's cancer or any chronic disease, whether it's a rare illness, a common illness, an uncommon illness, an uncharted illness. It doesn't matter. If you need a clinical trial or some scientific evidence-based whatever program, you are one of 3 people. The first is you just finished treatment and you just skated through, and now you're in recovery, survivorship, whatever category you want to, and you're saying, thank you, Jesus, it's done, right? That's where we are. But it's not actually done, because you're having side effects. You're dealing with the aftermath of going through whatever treatment you are, and then there's no one answering the phone. So that's the first group. The second group is you're in it. You're on a clinical trial. You're on a humanitarian trial. You're on a new drug, and you're working with a great hospital, or you may have traveled, like I had to travel with my family, inside the country, out of the country, or somewhere trying to get back to the US, and the program's closed. There's no one answering the phone. You need to get from one place to another, you have symptoms that are going on. You need to get access to your medication, and you've been cut off. You've been cut off, and every number that you're dialing is doo doo doo. No one answering, no response by email, by phone. Even if you wrote a letter, no one's responding. So that's the second group. You're on a drug, you're taking treatment, and now you've lost access to people, to your clinical researcher, your principal investigator, or that person that's helping you. Or maybe, in this case, you're with a hospital entity who has lost their funding, right? That is taking care of the bill for your treatment. Okay, so that's a whole other different thing. The third person that you could be, you're waiting to qualify for a clinical trial. You're waiting to send your information, your tissue sample, to have that conversation with that doctor or that consulting, receiving physician to come back into the country so that you can get here. And you're told the program's closed, you've lost your funding, you've lost your transportation, we cannot get you home, you got to figure it out on your own. And whatever you were holding your hat on that was going to save you, that we knew was going to work, or you were looking to determine that whether that's going to work, that opportunity is gone. So if you are in any one of these categories, you're in the right room today. I want to talk specifically to you. Okay. So the National Institute of Health is the governing body that funds all the scientific research that provides the clinical researchers, principal investigators, come on now, the principal investigators, all of the research data gatherers, statistical and analytics, those that would induct you and enroll you into clinical trials. They would publish the up and coming programs that are available, or they would work with the pharmaceutical industries to either receive funds or fund them to actually run and administer the programs and therapeutics that you would be able to access to save your life. Or they would work with an academic institution, and in partnering with them, they would fund that particular researcher or principal investigator, and they would then go into the community and recruit people to say, if you have this type of disease, this type of cancer, we have this new program. Come, send us your medical records. We will enroll you into this if you meet the criteria, and we will work to care for you while you're on the drug and make sure that you don't get hurt. Sometimes you do, but you need to know with eyes wide going in. So those are the three. Now, the National Institute of Health lost all of its funding, 60% of its funding, and then they did a mass layoff. So whoever you were once working with is no longer there. So what has happened is the hospitals now are saying, we still have patients we need to take care of. So now we're going to partner locally with our sister hospitals and still continue to provide care with whatever the funding that we have. Instead of going to the government, they're going to their local and municipal governments, or they're collaborating with other hospitals that have deeper pockets to ensure that they're going to care for your patients. So if you're in treatment and you're on the US soil, they're not going to take it away. I just want to be really clear. If you're in treatment and you are affiliated with a hospital, they're not going to take it away. What you might lose is the funds to get you to and from that hospital facility or that local hospital, because they've lost a portion of the funds and they may not have any transportation dollars left for you. If you're in that situation, it's important to find other foundations. They may have funds for you to be able to get to and from your appointments. You can go back to your insurance company and say, I need transportation dollars. They'll send you a form. You'll have to log every time that you go there and keep the receipt. But there should be programs there to reimburse you for that. So instead of going for government dollars, we now have to look to our own communities. Sometimes those that look exactly like you, or find different foundations that you weren't aware of within your local municipality, your state. There's still some state funds there that are still available to you. Also, for those clinical researchers, a lot of them are available. They're not employed, but they haven't stopped the work. They're going to still do the work. They're just doing it quietly. And if you're able to reach out to them or contact them, find them on LinkedIn, social media, you might be able to find them. They may still be willing to help you, because you know what? When you're impassioned about the work that you do, that doesn't go away. And even though they're not getting paid for the work that they're doing, they want to make sure that the patients that they were connected to are still being helped. And so there are other ways that they may be able to fund you or find funding in the communities through allyships and collaborations that they have in their personal lives to keep it going. On average, if you're looking at a clinical trial where it's for humanitarian purposes, you're starting at $1 million to just curate the drug, to just develop the drug. It's $1 million. And usually when it's the family asking from a rare disease, it's that family that has to go and raise that money. So where we had medical advancement and a lot of funding and opportunities through the different Cancer Moonshot and government initiatives, the President's Panel, a Cancer Panel, where these opportunities are on pause, right? As they review, hopefully they will give back the money. But for now, everything's on pause. So we have to go back a bit and go back into our community and reorganize that way and find our friends, family, our business affiliates and colleagues that have philanthropical or arms of their organization, and they may want to do this, and they'll do it quietly without making a big splash. Okay.
Well, woo, my little non-healthcare mind is like, woo. Is there a place, and thank you for sharing that, because folks need this. How many millions of folks? So folks that lost their funding, right, in NIH funding, especially in cancer, is there some place, or folks who are affected by it, more importantly, right, people like you and I, what can they do? Should they check with somebody, contact you? Like, where do they start?
You can contact me. You can still go to some government websites. And if you're looking at the arm of whatever organization is, if you put foundation, Anheuser-Busch Foundation, Nicholas Children's Hospital Foundation, they usually have that philanthropic arm of giving or of charitable giving that's available there, that you fill in a bit of paperwork. And if it's to benefit and continue the care of a patient, to help out, there are dollars available. It's not going to be big dollars like government dollars. It's going to be small dollars. So it's going to take many people of small dollars raising that snowball to make those big dollars together.
Yeah. Well, and again, I don't know. I have a lot of friends, family, people that are affected by cancer, and it's already hard enough. And now this is like, oh my goodness. So you're saying, and that's why we talked about what we talked about earlier. Fight. Yes. Don't lay down. Don't give up. Don't just, oh my goodness. Yeah, we want to. I get it. But don't. If Rochelle's not giving up, so you got to meet her halfway. You got to meet, and there's a lot of people that we don't know about that are probably out there grinding and helping in the background. So yeah, look for the silver lining. Yeah, no, I'm not getting it. It sucks. I know, but
Yes, it
Don't give
does.
up. Oh, it does suck. It's awful,
No.
but at the same time, it's temporary. Don't give up. That's why I'm doing this show, right? This show is very niche for people, but I don't care. It's the same reason we do shows on, veterans, right?
Mhm.
People need this, and I don't care. I'll take hits. We want to get the word out because this is people's lives, man. This is their legacy, and people that could do good things we want to see them live longer and healthier
Mhm.
so they can go out there and do it. Their family needs them. We need them. So anyway,
Mhm.
that's why I do this. So let
Mhm.
me throw this up here real quick because I know I'm all over the place. Sorry, Oprah. I
Mhm.
try to copy Oprah. I love Oprah style, and yeah, I do. Me and my AI, you got the redneck Oprah. That's what, like it came up with that stuff. Me and AI is having fun. I like Claude. Claude knows me. It said, "Hey, do you want to write this in the redneck connector tone?" I'm like, "Oh, that's a little invasive. Did we get married, Claude? AI?" But yeah, let me show you all this before I get
I
kicked off.
love it. I love it.
Let's see. You and Dr. Eugene Manley. I like that guy.
Yes.
And he
Yes.
likes me, which is not,
Mhm.
Eugene knows what he likes and don't like. And so that's a big compliment. So here we are. All right. Tell us what this is, where you're going, what's the benefit, and all about. Now, I can't say the foundation. How do you say
Okay, so it's
Warmina?
the Warmina Foundation, and
Uh,
that foundation is actually in Canada, and it was started by a wonderful podcaster I had met named Dominique, who just has a giving heart and soul. And what she found is in Canada, immigrants that came from all over the world, and Canada takes everybody. They don't. Canada's a great place. I grew up there. It's a wonderful place, and what was happening is after you got your green card, the equivalent of the green card, they found out that they had cancer. And so being new to a country, you don't understand navigating the healthcare system. You don't even want to tell anybody. You may want prayers, but you're not going to tell anybody because culturally, it may not be part of your culture to share that. Number two, you're afraid that if you say that you have a debilitating disease, they may kick you out the country where you don't understand the traditions, customs, and norms of where you are. And then thirdly, you don't know who to talk to because you really haven't established care with anybody. And then now you've been diagnosed because you walked into the emergency room and now you have this debilitating terminal disease. So Warmina is the name, Warmina Foundation. And that is the sum of two names, Warren and I think her name is Mia something. And both of them had passed away from cancer. And they were new immigrants to Canada. And it was something so simple, so easy. But because they were new immigrants, they didn't necessarily seek the care that they needed to get until it was too late. And so she just wanted to honor them, honor the beautiful spirits that they were. And she built this foundation. So Eugene and I will be speaking to the patients in Canada and the people in Canada that have a recent diagnosis of cancer. And even in the light of the National Institute of Health and loss of funding, there was a lot of cross-border cancer tourism that was happening where people could get the help that they need. And now it's closed. So how do they navigate that? How do they understand that they have come from a homogeneous society from wherever they're coming from, and now they're in a melting pot that isn't a melting pot, that doesn't see race and doesn't take that into account in taking care of their chronic disease or cancer needs. And you will have different outcomes if you don't take that into account. And so this is what we're talking about, and bringing that to the people of Canada.
And it's virtual. So,
Yes.
and more than just Canadians can benefit, right? So you learn a lot and get to know these guys. And Eugene, we got to get him back up here. He's got a lot of good stuff. He's grinding just like us, man, figuring things out. But he cares. He cares about especially the minority groups that have it even rough in a lot of places. And he wants to make sure that they ain't just, by themselves and dying, quite frankly. He wants to make sure that he does his part. And the man went to school, 100 years? He can do a lot.
You said that.
Yeah,
he has more the letters in his name, I will say that, but he has earned every step of it. He's a lung cancer and advocate for looking at disparities for Black and brown people, making sure that they get the care that they need, because usually in lung cancer, by the time we get to the doctor's office, and it's a bit late for us. We've been targeted under the smoking and cigarette industry, and then we don't have the proper access for screening programs. And so he brings that lens and talks about how to navigate yourself out of that and why it's so important to be aware and not do self-blame.
Yeah, and he is grinding. Oh my goodness. I forget how far I come until I see somebody newer in the game. And I'm like, woo, yeah. And I don't feel so bad. I'm like, it's not just me. It's like, the same thing when I meet somebody who's killing it and then they're grumbling about something or their slow month. And I'm like, it's not just me. Like it reinforces. But you two are just doing it. I mean, and you're not just alone. You're it's like a snowball. People are getting attached and they're getting on, and this snowball just gets going bigger and bigger. So I think this is found Warmina. See, I got that right.
There you go. You got it.
Boy, I was practicing. Warmina Foundation, fantastic. That's a legacy. That's what I can get. Maybe we'll have the Redneck Foundation one day. Seriously, that's what I'm looking for.
As long as I can get your fishing, I'll do it with you.
Yes, man. Well, I told him I want an oil painting somewhere on some foyer somewhere because all this crap I went through did something big. I can't have now. Listen, I want an oil painting, so my kids and grandkids and just with the camo hat, but I can't have that when I'm alive. I think my ego ain't ready for that. But my point is that it's not about that. If that happens, like I see somebody's statue, and I'm like, they must have done something daggum unbelievable. Like that's like real people. That's real people are celebrating something so extraordinary, and that's what you guys are doing. There's no exaggeration here. This is the real deal, and I just want to thank you. So, last 2 questions because I'll keep you here all day, and you need to at least take you need to eat a sandwich or something, right? So, because you've been going, all right, hanging out like we live in our car and stuff. I know how to do that.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, real simple, because I want folks to take away. Contact Rochelle, connect with her. Don't be shy. Share her, because we all have friends, family, colleagues, etc., that are affected by cancer. Right? You can't go anywhere. It's everywhere. So share this. Her contacts. Share this show. Whatever it takes. Share. I'll get the words out. Share the. Mina, see, I took the words away. Yeah. Share that whole event. Just go out there and blast it. We need positive. We need meaningful stuff. We don't need another show that just blah, blah, blah. I want to put out stuff that's meaningful. All right. And this is very much so for viewers who may be helping a loved one through cancer treatment, right? What are the 3, and I think you mentioned this, what are the 3 practical steps they can take today to better navigate the healthcare system?
Sure. The first thing is getting screened. You don't know where to turn your rudder, or where to drive the car if you don't know what you're dealing with in your health state. So number 1 is to get screened. Make sure you get screened. Number 2 is once you've done the screening, go back for the results. Don't let fear stop you from your blessing. And some people will say, well, how can the terminal illness be a blessing? Well, if you don't know that you're sick and everything isn't just, you just don't feel like yourself, how can you fix the problem if you don't acknowledge that there's something you need to do? So the first thing is to get screened. Second thing is to move the fear and get out your way and go do your follow-ups and your screenings. And then the third thing is ask questions. And if you don't know what question to ask, Find somebody like myself or April Wyatt or anyone, Jill Squire or Eugene or anyone within our organization, someone that you can hear what they're saying, isn't talking down to you, isn't talking over you, takes the moment to speak directly to you and what your issues are, so that you have an understanding on what the next step is. I think most people get where in late cancers and later stage cancers, when you've exhausted everything, we forget to continue to ask the question, why? And it doesn't mean why me, it just means why not now? What's next? Okay, we've exhausted here. Let me go find somebody else who might have a different answer. And it doesn't mean that you're disconnecting from your healthcare provider. It just means that you need to, when the pond that you're in is out of oxygen, you need to jump into fresher waters.
You've been hanging around me. That was country.
I'm straight talking about the salmon right here.
Yeah.
You know, if your pond is out of water, you need to go find fresher water.
Do it.
Fresher oxygen. And so that could be a collaboration with a community-based organization if you're looking for funding. They need money, but they have patience. So maybe you broker something, a charitable giving or giving in kind donation. You can have my smarts if we can help the patients. Everybody wins. It doesn't necessarily have to be about money, but if you're moving yourself forward in your care and actually doing something for yourself, it's a win for everyone, right? So those are the three things.
That beautiful. And yes, I got to go back to the doctor. So do not text me every day. I will go. All right. My wife saw this. He's like, okay. Yeah. So, but you're right. That was spot on. You can't fix what you don't know. And, wow. You know, you've been doing this a little while. I can tell. So, and I like you love what you do. You love the people and dadgummit. So, all right. Probably last question, because I want to keep you here forever, but let me see. What advice would you give, healthcare providers on the other end, right? And the people, especially, they're also stressed and doing their best to work through all these challenges and all this stuff. So, what advice would you give them, healthcare providers, about creating, more culturally sensitive cancer care experiences, and how to kind of, navigate through all this kind of turmoil or, uncertainty and change?
Absolutely. I think a lot of innovation comes through the challenges of change, but I think we are in an inflection in healthcare within this country and abroad globally that these are some of the lessons from this crazy word COVID, right? COVID brought the differences between us, the similarities between us, and everything in between that we didn't know, the good, bad, and the ugly. And I think where we are in this country, where if we're making changes that affect children, right? It's bad enough that children don't have enough information or funding for their cancer diseases, clinical research, everything else. But when you rip that little opportunity of advancement away from them, when they're so far behind the eight ball from an average adult and adult research, you really start seeing people coming together and being intentional and saying, okay, I can't do this. I can't walk this way. It's not about, cancer doesn't care about your politics. It doesn't care who you love. It doesn't care what you look like. It doesn't care what your race is. If you don't remove the fear and actually tackle with it head on, you will be 6 feet under, and it don't matter how much money you have behind you, because that's going to be 12 feet above you. And that's it, and it is the universal DEIA of everything, I swear to God. And unfortunately, that's where a lot of people are finding themselves, that there is not one person that wouldn't raise their hand and say, it's my mother, my brother, my sister, my coworker, my friend, my neighbor, the person I just saw walking across the street. Cancer is everywhere now. And we can either deal with it head on together, or we're all going to be left behind.
Yeah, who doesn't want to kick cancer's ass? I mean, everybody can get on this. You don't have to have cancer. So I pulled up your website. I want to make sure folks see this. OrchidHealthcareSolutions.com. So you have the Prosser the library, right?
Yes, you're looking at a little bit right there, but that's an older version. So basically what we do is give you a list based on what the characteristics of your cancer is. And based off of that, we will be able to say, this is the drug manufacturer, and this is the drug name, and this is what you need to learn about the drug. Now, take that list and go have a conversation with your oncologist and ask him what you need to know. Has he seen this? Does he know about this drug? There's 10 things you need to ask when you go in front of your provider when you're trying to find information about your disease or when you have a new diagnosis. What is it that I'm diagnosed with? What is it called? What is the good, the bad, the ugly, right? That's 3, but you want to put it all together. Is there a drug or is there a treatment out there that can save me or make it better? And if it's not, where do I need to go to find that information or to get it? That's it. And if you're afraid of needles, ask, is there another way that you could have a drug, either in a pill or something you drink or something you rub on your skin that can help fight the disease? He will say yes. He or she will say yes, there is, or no, there's not. Or they'll say, I don't know, but let's explore that. The idea is to open the door of exploration so that you can have the care that you need in the way you want it. That's what Orchid does.
Wow. So I always say this. I was like, how are you going to win? How are you supposed to win a game if you don't know the rules and how it's played? No, this ain't a game, but it's the same principle applies. You're the coach, you're the guide. Where do I go? Hey, start here, go here, right? That's the key. It's got to be the scariest thing on earth. I wouldn't have a clue. I would not have a clue. And it's nice to have somebody go, okay, I get it. This is what I do. Go here, do this. Next play, like a coach, like a quarterback, right? Hey, run the play. You run the play. Now we got the next play. Guys, that's Rochelle. That's the most basic thing you'll ever hear me say or anybody say in oncology. Right? But I wanted to make sure we got the spotlight. And real quick, before we go, I do want to make sure, because I want to make it short of this question, because this is probably the most powerful thing here. Let me take this off screen. Take that off. All right. And I mean this, because viewers who are watching, right, people who see this, they're inspired by your work today. What's one meaningful way they can get involved with either Orchid Healthcare Solutions or in general?
Okay. So I am opening up and have just started a group that will meet with its adolescents and young adults. It's starting with women right now, but I will bring gentlemen in to come and talk about what your concerns are, whether it's financial, whether it's being married and dealing with cancer, how to still continue to work and pay your bills while dealing with cancer. That's very real. There's 3 things that happen: taxes and death. Taxes, death, and bills, right? You're going to get them every single month, right?
It's hard enough to pay the bills anyway. Then you got cancer. Sorry, go ahead.
Now you got cancer. So how do you navigate that? That was one of the things that I had to struggle with, because in the midst of that, I couldn't go back to work. So I had to figure that out real fast, because those bills were still coming. And some of my bills were 7 figures. And I don't make 7 figures. So I had to figure out real fast. Otherwise, I wouldn't be standing here in the home that we have, and the only home that my children knew, right? So there are resources, there are things that you could do. For me, I used my employee stock and played the stock market and lived off the interest of that to help me pay and continue to live. Not everybody has those options,
Right.
you know, and I certainly didn't have it when I started, but I had to figure it out. So there are resources out there. Nobody wants to talk about the fiscal financial side. Who wants to talk about it when you are in the throes of cancer? But you better start because you need a plan.
Wow. See, this is what I mean. Just go, y'all. I ain't gonna say nothing else. Go contact this lady. Go follow. Go share. Go spread the message. It's not even hope. I don't even know what the word is. Action steps.
It is hope. It is hope.
It's more
It's
than
quality
hope.
of life. It's quality of life. You know, nobody wants to do that suffering. Life is already hard enough. Who needs to make it harder? But if you can have a good quality of life while dealing with that and dealing with the situation at hand, eventually you'll string it along and you have a good life. You have a good life. I'm still happily married. I love my husband. I'll say that. It hasn't been easy.
No, it ain't been easy. But ain't nothing worth it easy. That's what I mean. And then, you know, and I don't say this flippantly. You know, again, firefighting and stuff, but cancer survivorship. Woo, man, hats off to you, literally, because I just seen enough of it. I'm like, my gosh. So, you know, hey, if you could do that, what can't you do? I mean, honestly, it's so. You know, we got it. I mean, we see people all the time in the hounds, out the hounds on LinkedIn. We got Russ, we got Amanda, the most inspiring, biggest hearted people, you know, because those folks know what matters, right? I get a paper cut, I'll whine about it for 10 hours. They deal with cancer, you know, like the perspective around cancer people is just amazing, you know, and maybe not in the early days, but once they go through that, and that's why you're here, to help people kind of compress that time frame and all of that stuff, and then get to that healing part, get to that part where they can, you know, be more at harmony or peace or whatever. And that's what it's about. So thank you so much for taking your day. I know it's been a 24-hour day for you, like, but your heart to share this. We want to share you with others. Thank you so much, Rochelle. Anything else you want to share? Are you good now?
You know, if you're looking to do advocacy and you have time, life didn't roll. You rolled the dice and life didn't exactly come up with a set of sixes for you, right? Take this time to just breathe. See what you want to do and look into yourself to find out what you love. And take that, what you love, and monetize that and find a way to turn that into something. It may not be money right away, but if you help enough people, you will be able to move that needle forward to become that thought leader, that advocate, that voice of reason through the storm. And it will build into something. Don't think that where you are today is where you're going to be 6 months from now. Give yourself grace. Be kind. Be kind. You know, be kind. This will pass. And there's people here waiting to help you.
It sounds like you're talking to me because I needed to hear that too. Dadgummit. Because we all start. I'm telling you, man, everybody struggles. It's just other people are better hiding the shit than you are. I'm sorry, I gotta say, here we don't. We got trustworthy people that we can come to in confidence, and we get things done. So thank you for being a good friend to me. Thank you for the contribution to the hounds and you know, being that. That's why we exist. We can't do that. We shouldn't do this alone. And to think that you didn't have the support and things in the early days and continuous, that I didn't have it, Claudia. My gosh, you know, we have something to give. And if this didn't prove it, I don't know what does. So thank you for being you, first and foremost, because we see it. It's a big sacrifice, but dadgummit, you know, we applaud you for that. And thank you so much. So everybody showed up. Thank you so much, especially on a sunny day across the country.
Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Thank you all. Next week, guys, Kindness Worldwide. All right, do not miss this. This is going to be off the hook. This is the Pioneer County. No, I'm a Southern guy, and I'm thinking, man, maybe I need to move to York. I mean, I know it sounds nuts, but my car used to turn itself around the Ohio border. Right? That's how south I am. But man, all my friends are north and east and west, and now all across the world. So I think York has got something going. I cannot wait to bring Commissioner Muldrow up here, Kevin, We got amazing people that are just doing it. And, people have excuses, budgetary, come on, York didn't have to do this. And I just love it. So we're snowballing this because now we got companies coming in. They got artists out there doing amazing stuff. This is happening. And look, Camo Hat gets to go in early days. That wow. It makes all that crap I put up with in the past and all the stuff makes it worth it because this is real. So thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Rochelle. We will catch you on the next one.
My pleasure. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
Thank y'all for stopping by. Be sure to follow, share, and like, and send me a message if you had fun today. Y'all come back now.